Just going to mute everybody. No, all right,
We're muted, Mary.
Yeah.
Like she could hear that, right?
Yeah, right. That'll be good. All right, here we go. Welcome to Lisa's Changing Perception. Lisa is the creator of Changing Perceptions. Through life experiences, she has discovered that, well, we all suffer internal wounds that guide us. We live in a society that puts a label and expectation on everything and everyone. So many are in constant battle with themselves, never winning the war or ever feeling good enough. Lisa's Changing Perceptions is a show that offers tools and guidance that will assist you in discovering you and unlocking the chains of pain that bind you. Today, happy Halloween, and we're wrapping up Woo Month, which is absolutely awesome.
Wow, Kent, that was amazing.
How about that? And we weren't laughing like you and Pete.
No, well, but you haven't had a misfunction just before we got here.
Right. I got in literally. I've been up since 5. I've just been like, okay, we got to get this.
And I'm
up.
full of Death Wish coffee now.
That's right.
This is Kent, everybody. People are very used to Pete, and we all love Pete. We just
love
teasing.
Uncle Pete.
Everybody loves Pete, and I actually had many people very sad that Pete wasn't going to be the one with us this morning. But this is Kent, and Kent's going to be with us from now on.
Be fun on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, so we're going to have some new energy and new vibe, and I think Pete might join every now and then just to chit chat. I'm sure he'll stop in. So welcome, Kent. Thank you for agreeing to come in on a Sunday and produce. And as of next week, we go back to the Changing Perceptions, other stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Yeah, but we're going to call it Ask Lisa. We're going to start answering questions. And this today, Halloween, I have lovely Mary Sutherland with me. We are completing the end of Woo Month. I decided for October I needed a break from so many things. So I decided to do Woo Month, and Mary's completing our Woo Month. And she is fascinating, and she studies all kinds of different things and research. So I'll let her choose what she chooses to discuss today. And then at the end of the show, if Kent reminds me, I'm going to ask 3 questions about all the Woo shows. And the first person, if anybody, who can answer all 3 questions is going to get a free 30-minute reading.
Hey.
So I'm throwing that out there. I threw it out there the first day. So if you've been listening to all the shows, there'll be 3 questions that I'll ask. And truthfully, I don't even know what they are yet. So I can't forewarn you. But the first person to answer them. So Kent, maybe at like 1:15, remind me that it's time to ask the 3 questions, and that'll give people 15 minutes.
You got it.
Because they won't be questions people can really Google.
Yeah, and of course, Lisa's Changing Perceptions brought to us through the financial support of our good friends over at the Bremer team, right? Success, okay. Keller Williams, something. Don Bremer, lover. Yeah.
I didn't know if that was the case or not. So
I have no idea.
Okay. Always so professional here at 216 the Net.
I remember hearing it once.
So I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I know. I don't know her number or anything.
Okay. Good Lord. So thank you, Mary, for joining us today. It's been a long time since we've gotten to physically see each other because you moved away. And I know that you've been going through a lot. So I've been sending lots of love your way, knowing and understanding that. So I'm going to kind of throw the mic over to you, and then I'm just going to interrupt you sometimes when I feel like blurting something out, and tell people about you and what you study and where to find you. And we're going to show, for those of you who are listening, unfortunately, you won't be able to see them, but you could always go back on YouTube to see them later if you choose to. If Kent will tell you how to find us on YouTube.
That's right. You just go to 216 The Net. That's our YouTube channel. And just go under playlist. And Lisa's Changing Perceptions. She has her own little channel there. Boop, boop, boop. They're all there.
They'll be there. And you'll be able to see these pictures because Mary's brought some pictures of the haunted woods, and Ken's going to find some of them that I have actually personally taken myself. So I'll dispel the myth right now, Mary will laugh, of all the power equipment Mary must drag up to the mountain in order to cause all these things to happen. I've been there, and in truth, I've been there without Mary before too and gotten the same results. So this is not some scheme. If you chose to be closed-minded, today's probably not your day to listen. So let's just start going with that. So welcome, Mary.
Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, taking life as it comes the best I can.
Well, I just wanted to add one little detail to this.
All right.
And that is today we are, can you see this book?
Haunted Burlington,
Haunted Burlington, and that's Burlington, Wisconsin, right here across the border.
Right. And we're going to be doing one book giveaway. So all you listeners, contact us, and Lisa will give your name and address to me, and I'll send you out a book.
And how do they win the book, Mary?
Well, I'll leave that up to you how you do it. You can do like a little drawing. They can email in. Well, what they could do is they could either message you, or they could email the show, or they could email me. Well, actually, what it has to do is if you're going to do a drawing, how about they can email me, and then that way I can draw, and I'll have all the names and addresses that way. And I can do a drawing, and then I'll send them the book, or the lucky winner a book.
Yeah, or if they just go onto your Facebook page, right? And and then mention the show. Say, hey, I heard this, found you from 216 The Net, and then you can choose one of the people who do that.
There you go. Where they could even share the show onto your page.
There you go.
They can share the show onto your page, and then you can do a random drawing of that way too.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, well,
so,
awesome.
All right,
so a quarter till Ken's going to be attuned, and at about a quarter till Ken's going to go, okay, hold on, we need to do this drawing thing.
Yeah, let's do
it. And then we're going to go from there.
Good morning, Pete.
Hi, Pete. We missed you already.
So, so they're going to send it all to you. No, they're sending it to me. So I have.
Yeah, we're going to have them share the. We're going to have them share the show on your Facebook page, and that'll show their name, and it'll share the show for you.
Okay, and so you're going to share it over there on my Facebook site.
Yes,
correct.
Your Facebook.
Okay. So you guys are going to take care of that. And
we'll
then
take care of it, Mary.
And then you'll do the drawing on the show.
We'll tell them what to do.
That's right. We'll tell them.
All righty. Sounds good.
Kent said he'll tell him where to go, but that's always a concern. So I'll keep Kent under control. So, Mary, tell us about you and all the fabulous things that you research and study and what you do.
Well, a lot of people have come to me through the years and they'll say, well, Mary, what you need to do is focus on one thing, because you're so scattered. You concentrate on lost races, theology, hauntings, multidimensional traveling, UFOs, just a little bit of everything. And he says, what you need to do is just concentrate on one thing. But the thing is, everything is connected. So I always had a difficult time just doing that. So, I just put out everything and let people connect the dots and form their own opinion. And it's how I do it. And I also
what their brain kind of goes towards or what have you. Because you have a list of books that you've written on these topics, right?
Right.
How many books have you put out there on different topics?
Oh gosh, I think I'm on book 12.
Wow, that's
good
cool.
for you.
Yeah,
and I know one of them's on the red-haired giants, and Pete was interested in that. So we'll also put up a link there. Tell people how to find your books, Mary.
They can go to burlingtonnews.net/books.html. Or they can purchase them on Amazon.com. Amazon, they probably get them a little faster, But if they order through me, I write like a little saying on it and sign my name, so they get an autograph.
So when they order them directly through your website, they're signatured by you.
Right.
Rather than the Amazon route. Okay.
Right.
So what topic do you want to focus on today?
Well, I suppose since it's Halloween, we should focus on what you call the woo-woos.
That'd be correct.
I never could figure out how they came up with that name, but
I don't know. It's just always stuck with me. And it seems more gentle than when you start telling people about spirits or ghosts or hauntings or whatever, just the woo-woo in general, because it is all connected to a million different things.
It really is.
So to me, the woo-woo is all of it. All the universal, unbelievable truth. So
what I do is I focus on multi-dimensions. I focus on Bigfoot, spirituality, hauntings, life after death, healing. I'm also, like you, a counselor where, trying to help people with self-empowerment. I do card readings. What else do I do? I write books on ancient races. And I connect. One fun thing I do is I connect Bigfoot to going all the way back to the Sumerian texts. With Enkidu. That would have been. Oh my gosh. So anyhow, it goes all the way back to the Sumerian tradition. So, and I cannot think of his name. It'll come to me. Old age,
Yeah, it'll come to you at like 10:02.
Yeah, it'll come to me right after the show. Yeah. But anyhow, I was able to take Bigfoot all the way back to the Sumerian days of the Sumerians. So that was kind of interesting. And I have that in my book, and how man was created, and about with the Anunnaki, pulling in the Anunnaki there. And I also, in my book, show how the Anunnaki were actually also in North America. My last book I put out was Giants, Gods in the Appalachians. So that was really interesting and fun to write. What I try to do with my books, though, is I try to find lost information. So I don't, a lot of the books that you see today or read today is, it's just a repetition of things.
Right, the same information put in a different wording or format to make it look new.
Yeah, different spin. But what I do is I try to stay away from all that, and I use I go back into the ancient texts. I also I'm a hands-on researcher, so I base a lot of that stuff on what I've actually seen and experienced, and I also lost books, that just isn't out there for people to see and read. So I take all that lost information or rare information and put it all together and put it out as a book. So, so people get other information besides what they're picking up with, the other books that the authors are putting out. That's just repetition of, or a spin on what's already out there. So, I've had a lot of compliments on my books. My books are really selling good now, so must be doing something right. I also write on spirituality, living in the light, believe in the magic. That's going to be coming out soon. That was a book that I had before, and then it was out of print. So what I'm doing now is, getting it republished. And I don't know. Let's see. What else do I do? I do the haunted tours, and of course, that's what I think we're going to be talking about a lot today.
Yeah, it's Halloween, and it's something here local we have hundreds of thousands of listeners all over the world, actually, but there's a large percent that's right here in this area. So I really do want to talk about the Haunted Woods. You have no idea how many people ask me, where'd you get those pictures? Did you really take them? Are they real? All the typical questions. So I want to show some of those. Like I said, anybody who's listening just live on the air without the screen, you can go onto the YouTube, as Kent told you how, and be able to do that. But I wanted to focus on the Haunted Woods. And I'm also going to throw this out there, and Mary may say something bad. We'll see. You can see that Mary's a wealth of information and different topics and interesting topics that there aren't a lot of people out there that talk about or discuss. So I have been pushing Mary to do her own show that talks about all these different unique things. So I'd like to get Mary encouraged. And if all of you would love to hear all details on all these different topics with Mary doing her own show and teaching and educating everybody on these things, please encourage her to do so. By contacting her, by emailing the show, however it is that you need, because I want to encourage Mary's words to kind of get out there to the
We've
world.
We've only got 5.3 million listeners that would probably love that show.
That's right. It is just unique and cool stuff. You know, I mean, I've been in the woo-woo for a long time, but it's a lot of topics that I don't know about or I don't do. So it's something completely unique to anybody I've ever met, and I've met a lot of people who do this. So Mary, I'm kind of throwing you under the bus for a second there before we do the Haunted Woods talk.
Well, actually, I am planning on doing a show, through you guys. But I had problems, when I first started looking into it. That was when Brad was so sick, and then of course he crossed over, and of course I had to go through, the phases, of grief. But I thought that with this show here, what I do is do a little test run. And if I felt comfortable with everybody, then contact the station later, and set up something where, I could start doing a show. Because I really do like your show. And I pop in every once in a while and listen to some of the other shows too. But of course, yours is my favorite. So.
Oh, she's got to say that. That's obligatory. Yeah. So Mary, the Haunted Woods is in Burlington, Wisconsin, and you do tours up there. And how did you find it? Let's start there. How did you find the woods?
Well, let's see. How do I say this without sounding too woo-woo? I know it's a woo-woo show, but sometimes I can really do woo-woo, right? So, but anyhow, I was in Arizona and moved here to Wisconsin, and my husband, Brad, had a job up here where, he was going to build homes in the Burlington area. So we got a place here in Burlington. And anyhow, I started up, I got this building with an apartment upstairs and a shop down below. And it was I was going to just do a doll and collectible shop. And at that point in time, I really wasn't very much into paranormal per se. But anyhow, Brad would be on the road building homes, and I'd be there by myself. And at night, some really strange things were going on. I mean, television going on and off, lights flickering. One time, the television went off and it started printing hello, hello, hello. And that one sent me down to, I ran down the stairs and I stood in the middle of the road hoping a cop would come by, and so I could tell him what was going on because I was scared half to death. Luckily, no cops showed up. Otherwise, they'd probably put me in a straitjacket. So, but anyhow, I was so scared. And I started talking to next door neighbor, and she says, well, my God, she says, same thing's happening over here. She says, this building is so haunted. And I put up, anyhow, I was doing I had my own radio show at that time, BUFO Radio. And I was doing shows on, just tapping into just about everything really. But it was basically, to promote my book, Living in the Light at that time. And, but anyhow, as I got into it, more and more people started talking about different things, so I started adding to, adding to the show different things. But anyhow, long story short, I got a hold, or this one guy contacted me, Christopher Moon out of, I think he's out of Colorado or Wyoming, but he was a paranormal investigator. So I did a show and I told him what was going on in my building. And he says, well, if you can prove out this, then what we'll do is we'll send a team down to Burlington and check it out for you. And I says, well, how do you do that? And he said, he says, well, you get a camera and you get a voice recorder. And he says, and just start snapping pictures, and running the recorder. So I did, and I started getting some crazy ass pictures, like, orbs. We know them today as orbs, and strange, strange streaks of light. And we were even getting ghosts. And then I also had like a motion detector, and I had it down in the basement, and that was going off constantly. So the next time I talked to him, I showed him the pictures, and he says, well, yeah, he says, you really got something. He says, maybe we'll send a team down there. And I says, you know what? I says, I don't think so. I says, I'm fascinated by this. I had absolutely no idea about this in what I now today call an invisible world, and all the things that are around us that we just cannot see. And so I told him, I says, you can just forget that. I says, I think I'm going to start testing the waters myself on this here in Burlington. And as I was, talking to the various people in Burlington, I realized that there wasn't a darn house in Burlington that was not haunted. And he was like, well, that's kind of crazy. And so anyhow, as I'm doing the investigation, well, I know this is going to sound crazy, and I know nobody's going to believe this. And pretty much I've never, if it wasn't for your show, Lisa, I probably would never say this, because it's, like I said, it's too woo-woo. But a spirit of a giant appeared in my office as I was on the computer. But he was so real looking. I could see his features, and I couldn't understand it because he was probably about 20 foot tall, and my ceilings are only maybe 10 foot, or even max 12 foot. And it's like, well, how the heck can you even be in here? But anyhow, he told me, he said, I'm going to share something with you. He says, get in your car and I'll guide you. And he did. Oh, now I'm getting calls. But anyhow, he guided me. He taught me how to body, what do you call it?
Apparate.
What?
Apparate.
Well, anyhow, I felt his, I was able, yeah, it's like dowsing, except you use your body, right? And so anyhow, so I get in my car and I'm feeling him. So I'm driving as I feel him. And then when I quit feeling him or his presence, then I would stop the car, turn around until I picked it up again. And it took me about an hour to get to the woods. And the woods is only about 7-minute drive. But it's called body dowsing. Okay, so anyhow, I finally arrived in this little woods and in a parking lot there. And anyhow, then he just kind of disappeared. And I couldn't feel his presence at all. And I knew that this was where I was supposed to be. So I got out and I thought, well, maybe it's in the swamp or something, something, whatever it is that he wanted to show me. And, but then I seen like a little opening into those woods. And I had my camera with me. And kind of like a Westerner, always wearing, your 6-shooter. Well, I always carried my camera. So I shot in a different way than the guys from the Old West. But anyhow, I went in there with my dog, and it was just beautiful in there. So I just kind of sat down on the hillside, and I started taking pictures. And after after a while, I just went back home or back to the office and uploaded the pictures onto my computer so I could see them better. And everything was distorted. And, where one tree would be, there'd be 2 trees. There'd be, there would be portal openings, vortexes, everything you could possibly think of. And I even got a picture of a little entity sitting up in the tree. And it's like, what the heck is all this? And of course, during those days, people really wasn't so much into the paranormal or especially into portals and vortexes. So, but I got enough information from some friends of mine, that were physicists, and they had started telling me about these multi dimensions and the things that live within. And so there was the beginning. I started with a giant, that appeared in my offices and guided me to the woods. And
I don't think that's crazy, Mary. You know that because I've had similar things where you go, okay, this doesn't make sense, but something in me says this is true and right, and this is real, so I'm going to go follow it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for us crazies, there'd be a lot of things that weren't discovered. So that's all right, and we can prove it.
Well, that's the whole thing. People have to have an open mind. They can't just focus on one thing and then just screen everything else out because it's all interconnected. So anyhow, I started
the beginning of the tours, huh?
Yeah. So anyhow, I started taking my friends. First of all, I started taking my friends out to see if they could get the same type of pictures and that, and find out what they thought. And you were one of them. Anyhow, we just kept continuously getting these type of pictures, of these vortexes, portals opening up, people shifting out of their bodies, and I mean, come on, shifting out of your body.
Well, and it's funny because I'll tell you, there's several pictures I have of that. And people have said to me, that's just a double exposure. Well, first off, digital cameras don't double expose. And secondly, if you look at them, a double exposure would repeat the same thing twice, and they're different. Sometimes it's a different facial expression. Sometimes it's a different arm in a different place. It's whatever, but it's not a repeated picture like a double exposure was. Ken's got some pictures. Did you go on my Facebook or no?
I will.
We can share the one
that Mary put up there.
Here's the first one. This is Mary. He's putting up, you can see, right? He's putting up the one from, this was a winter solstice ritual that we went into the woods to do. And do you remember what year this was? I know my husband was still alive because he was there.
No, I can't remember.
So it's got to be 10 or 11 years. So it was before he was sick.
I have a hard time remembering my name anymore.
So the cool thing about this picture is it looks like y'all are out in the woods and standing around maybe in a circle.
Yeah, we're a circle doing a ritual. The 4 people in that picture happened to be fire, water, earth, and air signs. And we all knew each other. So we went into the circle for the winter solstice.
Interesting. And it looks right between you two, right?
That's me with blonde hair.
Yeah. There's somebody. But there isn't somebody. You can clearly make out the face back in the, probably it looks like maybe 2 or 3 steps behind y'all. Right? Clear as day.
And he's in like a hood, he's in a black robe with a hood.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's cool to me. That's amazing.
Yeah, we did not feel that or see that in the moment, but we were also in the middle. Like I said to Ken, in case anybody missed it, is that those are people that I met through Burlington Sci-Fi Cafe, which was what Mary had in Burlington there. And the 4 of us, that's winter solstice. And we went into the woods because our signs were, I'm water because I'm a Pisces, water, air, fire, and earth. And we went in to do a ceremony circle, doing gratitude and sending energy to the woods to clear it.
Now, as you were there, that wasn't.
No.
I mean, so it wasn't like, hey, let's take a picture of this guy sneaking
I can assure you that if it was, even being in the woo-woo, my face would not be calm and my eyes closed so peacefully.
Right.
If I had seen that or known it was there. Yeah. Even into the woo-woo and not really being afraid of it, if all of a sudden something stood next to me that wasn't there a second ago, that would not be my facial expression.
Yeah. So you're in the haunted wood, ladies. What's the energy level? Can you feel the spirits there? Or?
Sometimes. Mary probably more than me. Sometimes I usually go in there with the attitude of be open-minded, just let whatever's going to be, and just start snapping pictures. And I make my assessment afterwards. Yeah. I can tell you, and then I'll let Mary do this, but I can tell you that my daughter, when she was little, my youngest daughter, my mini-me, it was her 7th birthday. And I said, what do you want to do today? It's your special day. And actually, I want to go to the woods. So we went to the woods, and we have pictures and we had experiences up there that were just the 2 of us. And I know at one point we walked through an imprint because and she was 7. So, and I didn't instill my children with this, because if I did, my oldest one still makes the sign of the cross sometimes when we talk about this stuff, she's not into it. But she said, Mom, what is that? And we could hear a ritual of some sort going on. Like we could hear people talking, and there was a very strange energy about it. And we could hear a growling. But if you knew it, when you take a haunted woods tour with Mary, you'll see this isn't a place where there's going to be the random dog or the random anything like that. There's no reason for it to be up where it is, because you're really going up onto a hill. And we could hear those things, and we knew, and we were in an area of it where it's a path, and down each side of you, you basically fall into a ravine if you go off this path. So there was nowhere for them to be, but we could literally hear it going on. Wow. And my younger daughter, being a mini-me, is in tune to all those things. As much as she doesn't like to be, she is. And so, yeah, you can feel it. I mean, I can at times, and I know, okay, wait, stop and pay attention. But when I would go on the tours, I didn't want to influence other people by being too over the top with it all. So I tried to go in, and my husband, although open-minded, my husband, open-minded as he was, I also didn't want to influence him or make him think he had to fake that he saw or whatever. So I wanted people to have their own experiences when I would go with them. So I just kind of went in with, let's just see what happens. And always something happened. Always. I've never left the woods without some kind of experience.
Amazing. And Donna, good morning. Donna says, I visited the woods and experienced just what you're seeing there on the screen.
It's an amazing place. That's my mama, Mary.
Hi, Donna.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and people, they respond to the woods in many ways. Some people, they're fine. And then there's other people, because the energy is so high that they actually get sick to their stomachs, or they get vertigo, or headaches.
That's what happens to me now for whatever reason. I haven't been able to go in for a long time now. I went 2 or 3 times and had the exact same experience each time. So I've kind of backed off going, although who knows, I'm not a quitter. we may be heading back again.
Yeah, it's just the frequencies, the vibrations. Sometimes, you just don't quite click, and you end up with a headache or something. And then you got the spinning, and then of course you got the spinning vortex in there too. And I'm sure that spinning vortex is what makes everybody so sick to their stomachs.
Here's another picture that Ken Scott posted up. Actually, this was on the Haunted Woods tour of Mary's. That is my friend Lisa, who will kill me when she sees this picture being posted. She had come up from out of town, and we were looking for something fun to do. And we went, let's go. Let's just go do it. Because I had been before, and she was like, fine. And you could see from the expression on her face that she's like, whatever, I'm tired. I want to go home. Like this woo-woo was really not her big thing. And then when we got home and we loaded the pictures, this picture showed up. So I don't know, Ken, can we make it bigger or no?
Yeah, you can, by putting your fingers on that picture and then spreading your fingers out.
Let me see what
Ken just made the whole thing dirty in his head is what he did.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that looks like some sort of a spirit being standing behind her.
If you can see, it's got the eyes and the face, and you can even see its fingers wrapped around the tree.
That's a little bit better there.
Yeah.
I remember asking her, because we're loading up the pictures and going through them, and I remember asking her, like, did you know that was there? And she said the same thing I said. Does the look on my face appear as though I knew it was there?
I mean, it's for everybody out there listening, it's like this person or spirit is literally got its fingers wrapped around, I'm going to say a tree that's probably 8 to 12 inches in diameter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a good sized tree. You can clearly see the eyes, the face,
peeking around,
like, hey, I'm going to get in this picture. I mean, it'll give you goosebumps. It's amazing.
And like, I took that picture myself, so it wasn't Mary's special camera and all these myths that people have come up with.
This is just with your phone.
This was me.
Right?
Well, I had a digital camera.
Digital. Okay.
This was just me randomly shooting, and then we come home, and Mary knows you might load 200 pictures onto your computer and then find 10. Yeah. But I don't care if I load 200 pictures on my computer and find 1.
All right. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Wendy, good morning. Wendy says, hey, how do you protect yourself from any negativity in those woods? And great show, by the way.
Well, Mary, you can tell him your ritual. Anytime I do even a reading, go into my office, anytime I basically leave my home that isn't just me, I tend to call in all the peeps and just say, please help to clear and protect me today from anything that could cause harm or anything I'm not meant to experience, because I believe that sometimes we're meant to have certain experiences. Oh, you know what? See the one up there that look, let me, there, is it that one? Yeah, click that one. Let me see if it's that one. Yeah, this is one where people said this is a double exposure. So here's the interesting part. If you look at that, see the guy looking into the woods with the flashlight? But look at his same reflection above him.
Oh my gosh.
His arms are down. He's looking downward. He's not looking into that can't be a double exposure.
No.
So that's a time portal. Mary, explain what that is.
Up there in the woods, what we have, what the Cherokee call time untime, where time is different than it is here, in most places, where you can get into these vortex areas and you will actually shift out of your body and go into another dimension. And so, like in this picture here, you can see that what he's done is he stepped into a dimension that's a little bit ahead of the time that he's in. So it's a form of time travel.
So the picture we're looking at, this guy, what catches my eye first is he's got a flashlight looking at something, and then kind of up over him, he's just standing there with his arms down, just looking like he's walking or something, right?
And the interesting thing is, because that's the direction he would have had to turn to start walking. So what she's saying is that that's a time dimension thing. Like there's a part of him that already jumped into the next minute or whatever that should be.
Which is excellent evidence for people that have crossed over. You have a loved one, that has just recently died, and you worry about them naturally, because you've seen their physical body, and the physical body is dead. But my pictures actually prove out that we are capable of leaving our bodies and going into these other dimensions, and all dimensions is a modern day term for what the ancient people called heavens.
And then if we click back, I'm going to find it. Yeah, Ken's just in awe now. Let me look at these. Ken's going to be stalking my Facebook later to find these pictures. Yeah. So there's another one I know that's on there that I wanted to make sure that we showed today. There we go. Try that one right there. Yeah.
The fairy.
There's a fairy. And you don't see this with your eye when you're there. Oh, these are things that are caught on film.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, you can see little arms and a little head.
Yeah.
And you can see that and I love this. That's a lightning bug. You know how many times I hear that? If I see a lightning bug that damn big, I'm out. Like there.
The thing also is we get these same type of pictures in the wintertime with snow on the ground.
Where there wouldn't be lightning,
where there is not going to be any bugs out there. Yeah, we still get these type of pictures.
Yeah, you have to look up Lisa's, her Facebook page, and then go to albums. It's amazing. I mean, this is a fairy. You can literally see it's a fairy. I mean, that ain't no damn lightning bug.
No, and there's so many different versions of them. If we go back. Mary can explain what some of these things are, because I just take the pictures and Mary usually knows the definitions. I just go, oh my gosh, that's cool. There's another one I'm trying to find. There, see with the leaves? That one, yeah. This is energy. And you don't see it when you're walking through it. But I remember Mary saying, right up here, you'll feel the energy and it might feel like cobwebs. And I was like, well, creepy. So we're walking up and all of a sudden, now it's pitch black by now because we're leaving. So it's pitch black because you go up there and it's a dusk thing until the dark, and it's pitch black. We're leaving. And all of a sudden I'm finding myself brushing off my face and my arms, like, what is all over me? Yeah. Literally feeling like I'm covered in cobwebs. So I started snapping pictures. Amazing. And this is one of the pictures from that. That's energy, but you feel it. Yeah. You can feel it touching you. You can feel yourself walking through it. And actually, my friend, this picture I think is pretty. And my friend used this on the front of a greeting card just because it was pretty, something.
Right. So the look is, go ahead, Mary.
The ancient people called this the hair of Shiva.
And And you physically feel it when you walk through it.
It really looks like the best way that I can describe it. We have some branches, and then it looks like somebody might have taken a SOS pad and scratched your lens.
Right.
Is that a good way to say it?
And it's energy.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think there's one more, and then I'll let Mary go back. But I know that the reason I'm focusing on the pictures is because that tends to catch like people's attention to go, okay, how could you explain that? So let me do one more.
Shayna asks, is there a particular time of day that gives the most opportunity to see these things? Any good and good morning.
It's usually dusk is the strongest. Is that right, Mary?
Well, I can get them day or night. But the thing is, daylight or day, you have all that ambiance light, right?
Down on the second right, second left.
I think there's a word for
Nope, one more. Nope, go back.
But anyhow, you have all that light, but at night you don't have that light, so they stand out better.
And then I'll do this last one, and then Mary, whatever ones you want me to show her that you have, we'll show. In this picture, again, this is another example of the time change or the portal or whatever it is you want to call it, or you want to discover that it is for you. Yeah. Is I took this picture, this young kid and this young girl were just sitting we were taking a break. We were just kind of resting at the top there. And I started snapping pictures randomly at dusk. And again, this is another one where people say, oh my gosh, that is just a double exposure. But if you look at it closely, if you see they're both smiling, but if you look at the double exposure, so to speak, that people claim above that, they are not smiling. Their facial expressions are not the same. And they even look slightly older.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you notice in the back where that guy with the plaid shirt.
Right, that was the same guy with the flashlight.
Yeah, you see how everything's melting away around him?
Yeah.
That's what type of pictures I was getting when I first went into the woods. So I first discovered the woods from the giants' directions. But
and you see all that light around them?
Yeah, one reality will actually melt away and be replaced with another reality there.
And see how it looks like the sun's coming through the trees?
Yeah.
That's pitch black. We're in the middle of the night there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the other dimension. Yeah. See, that dimension's melting away, opening up to the dimension behind him. And in that dimension, it's daylight.
And there's one more real quick. We said that about the orb. Remember the blue orb?
Yeah.
We'll find that. I know I've got one of that too, real quick here. There it is. Go up. There, that one.
Oh, I thought that was the moon.
That's what everybody thinks. And that's what everybody says. But here's the thing. First off, you don't see that with your eye necessarily when you're there.
Yeah.
It's pitch black. And we're within the trees. You can't see the moon. It's very, very, very treed. This is the woods.
Yeah, it's so everybody. Looks like we're resting on a rock. You're obviously in the middle of the woods, and I thought it was the moon behind. It's not. I mean, it is a solid blue orb, and then there's another little one over here.
Right. Oh, you'll get all kinds of them. Huh. Mary, there's a meaning for that specific big blue orb. Is that true?
Yeah, blue usually stands for spiritual. Anytime you see a blue orb, you know you're safe, But of course, red orbs, a lot of people see red orbs too, but that's just a high energy. But some people will think of it like, oh, that's a bad one because it's so red, it's anger. But no, it's just high energy.
And now you can flip through either one of those if you want to and post whatever, and Mary will explain them.
Sure.
And green is a healing energy.
And you still do tours up there, right, Mary? They're available to people?
What? I'm sorry.
You still do tours up there, right? They're available to people?
Yeah, I have a tour November 2nd that I think I got like 20 people. We get it's nothing for us to get 80 people on a tour. It's a little bit more difficult for me, but, because I have to throw my voice. To the back of the group, but we manage. We get the pictures, and then afterwards, what I do is I put them up on Facebook with an explanation of the phenomena that is going on at that time.
And how do people get a hold of you? And tell them what's involved in having a tour? Whether do you do general public tours anymore, or are they all just private groups? And how do they get a hold of you to do that?
Well, now I used to only do them on Saturday night, but now what I do is I allow people to schedule according to their convenience. So, but, and so sometimes, the group will say, yeah, other people can join, which is great. I have like a list of people, if they only got like one person, want to go on a tour, because I have like a minimum, it's either, the minimum's $200, but that covers from 1 to 4 people, right? 1 to 5 people. And so anyhow, maybe it's one person, they don't want to pay $200. What they do is they email me saying, I want to be on one of your tours. Then I'll put them in this folder, the name and address. And then when I get enough people in there, then I contact each and every one of them to let them know that I can put together a tour for them.
Because what is it? Is it 25 or 40? What is it per person technically?
Right now it's $40 per person.
So it's $40 per person with a minimum of $200 to start to get a tour even set up. And just so that you guys know, this isn't a 15-minute one and done thing. This is something you're talking about 3, 4, 5 hours.
Yeah,
3 or 4 hours of being up there. And on the way up there, Mary stops at each location and tells you the history of the area and the different things that are there. So this isn't something where you're going to be in and out in 5 minutes. So when you look at the cost is truly minimal for an experience, you may not have again. There's a flying ferry.
Yeah, and then you have taken into consideration is where I'm living now, it's a 2-hour drive one way. So I'm using up 4 hours of driving time. That's a long drive.
So
but I think before we end the show, though, I think that we need to bring up the rock throwing.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have Bigfoot up there, a family of Bigfoot up there in the woods, and they will actually throw, they throw stones at you or hit whatever sticks, but they do it more or less for entertainment value, I think, because of the fact that nobody ever gets hit. The rock, I mean, you'll see a rock flying by you, but and it's kind of scary. But anyhow, we do have a lot of stone throwing going on up there. It seems like every tour we go on, you'll hear the Bigfoot up there. And we have actually seen Bigfoot up there and photographed Bigfoot up there. I just don't, I share it with, some of the shows, but I'm very cautious about who I really tell about them, because I don't want, somebody going up there and hurting them or chasing them out of there, because it's a good thing for them. But it is a protected
thing, because there are those people who would think that it was just, this is just fun, and they don't understand that these are real things and these are real things happening, and you can really destroy the energy of it for everybody. By going up there and not having respect for it. It doesn't mean it can't be fun.
It is time for you to ask 3 questions or whatever it is that you were going to do.
I'm going to ask 3 questions, and the first person to get all 3 questions correct, I have to think of them super fast now. The first person who gets all 3 questions correct will get a free 30-minute reading. You can throw the answers into a comment to Kent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that'll
throw
do
them
it.
In the comments, we'll find them.
The first question is, who gave up this? These are questions for those who didn't hear it in the very beginning of things that have been on the show during Woo Month, which has been October. Who gave up absolutely everything to only trust their faith? Number 2 is, what state were my guests from who discussed the woo and witchcraft and spirituality combination? And the third one is, what did Mary offer as her own gift and prize during this show today? And then, I don't know, Kent, a couple minutes before, let me know if anybody answered all 3.
And then if we still have time, I want to say one more thing about those woods. When you're working with scientists, they want things that are repetitive. If they do an experiment, they want to turn around, do an experiment, see if they get the same results. And in paranormal, that just doesn't happen, except in those woods. It always happens. So you can actually go into those woods, like myself, that has been studying them for 12 years, 15 years. You can actually go in and get the same results over and over and over again.
Right. And I believe that, and I've seen it myself.
And that's a wonderful thing because that's provable.
Right. And, it's funny because when you say scientists, I love it when people say to me when I talk about some of this stuff, well, convince me. It's not my responsibility to convince you. Or when people call me up for a reading, they're like, well, I want to know that you're going to be able to get so-and-so to come forth and say this or do this. There is no more control over the spirit world than I have of Kent. Like, it's just not how it works.
You tell them.
But Lisa, remember how I actually, because I know those woods so much and I know that it's repetitive, I actually used to, and I still do, give guarantees that they will have phenomena up there. I actually guarantee it or their money back. And I mean, what paranormal researcher or tour guide will actually guarantee their results from a tour?
2 out of 3, Donna.
Look at my mom trying to guess for a reading. Like, she couldn't just call me up and ask me.
She's hoping to get it free. You usually charge her double.
Well, you know what? Then maybe she'll end up with Mary's because seriously, she can just call me.
Julie, Colorado, Haunted Burlington.
2 of those 3 answers are correct.
Yes. All right. So when the veil is thin now, right? It's Halloween. Let's be honest.
That's what it means, and that's the other thing people don't realize. Yeah, the veil is very, very thin.
Very, very thin. So have you all experienced more activity in those woods during this weekend typically, or is it just always kind of level?
The energy is always strong there, and I think I give credit to all the people that I have taken in there through the years, because it's like an exchange of energy. The energy gives us something, and in return we give them energy, through intent, through focus, different things like that. So the more people that go in, the stronger the woods becomes, regardless if it's a solstice or Halloween or whatever. But of course, everybody's expectations are higher, when the veil is thinner. So because of those expectations, then it's a higher energy being put out by the people, and the woods responds.
We are going to have Pete right now walk the walk of shame that he produced all those shows.
I had to put it up there.
And I think he got, let me see something.
Yeah, Colorado, Wisconsin.
And absolutely none of his answers are correct. Not one of those answers is correct. Pete, walk of shame for being the producer, and not one of those answers.
Well, maybe he left his notes here in studio.
My mom corrected her answer, and actually she got them all right now.
Right. So it's Julie.
Julie gave up absolutely everything to follow her faith and trust. Yes. She literally sold her home and everything she owned in the town she had grown up in, and her family was incredibly known in, and left with a truck and a small trailer and her dogs and husband, and moved into a 700 square foot little place in Colorado because her heart said, this is where I need to be. And literally at 50 years old, started all over again. Yeah. And my friends from New York, Shelby and Christina owns Mystic Rose Magic Gift Shop, was on the second show, and they talked about the different things that have to do with the woo and the good of witchcraft and what have you. And Mary did offer a free Haunted Burlington book. Yep. And Mary, it's up to you. Since my mother got all the answers right, because she's a loyal listener, unlike the producer of the shows, can we do the book for her, and I'll just offer the reading to somebody randomly?
Absolutely.
That's probably why he's.
We love her.
It's probably why he's the ex-producer.
We love her.
But no, the fine print does say if you host a show and or work for the station, you are unable to win any of those prizes. It's a legal thing.
So Pete purposefully answered them all wrong.
Yeah, just trying to get people thinking.
How about this? Because of that, why don't we do it like this for the listeners? I'll offer 2 books, one for your mom, and then another one for somebody else that's out there listening. Yeah. Because they're supporting your show, so I.
That's very nice of you. Yeah. All right, so Mom, you'll have Haunted Burlington to read this winter.
Yeah, and Haunted Burlington it has stories in it about Haunted Burlington itself, but the best part about it is the phenomena that we've been talking about. I explain all that. I explain vortexes. I explain Bigfoot sightings. I explain the Beast of Bray Road.
We forgot the Beast of Bray Road. Mary, you got to come back on and get her do your own damn show because I'm telling you.
Yeah,
the Beast of Bray Road is a cool one.
Yeah, Lana has talked about that.
So Mary, we're kind of closing it up, running out. I am so grateful that you came on with me today. I do encourage you to do your own show. If for whatever reason life doesn't allow you to do that right now, you are always welcome back to talk about other things again, because you have the most fascinating research and discoveries. And I know that Pete is on pins and needles wanting to learn about, as he calls, the ginger giants, but the red-haired giants. Being a redhead himself, he is of interest of that. So I welcome you to come back.
I have a 5-book series on In Search of Ancient Man, which talks about the red-haired giants. It all focuses around the red-haired giants.
And they're fascinating. You can find, real quick, Mary, before I close up and talk about next month, tell everybody again real quick where they can find your books.
burlingtonnews.net/books.html. And I also have a Facebook site for the haunted tours. It's just a haunted, what is it? Haunted Wood Tour. Haunted Wood Tour. Haunted Wood Tours.
And if somebody wanted to contact you to do a group or to get a group together for that, where would they reach you? Would they reach you through Facebook, or is there another way to reach you to get that set up?
They could reach me through Facebook, or they can email me.
And what's that email?
At bsutherland@wi.rr.com. And they can find all that information on my homepage on my website at burlingtonnews.net.
There we go.
So anybody who is fascinated by these pictures or thinks we're full of shit and would like to have a fun night out, get a group together. It starts at $200, and then it's $40 a person to go. And again, this is hours of an evening out. This is something to talk about for years to come, as you can see the pictures and what have you. That show, feel free to do that. Support Mary, support the woods, but I do tell you, have respect of the woods and the energy, regardless of your belief.
Here's what I would challenge people is, why is it the only time you believe in these things is during this week of the year? Right. Guess what? If you can believe it during this week of the year, you can believe it any week. That's what this show, Changing Perceptions, is all about.
Look at Pete. Kent's just trying to get you there, buddy. He's just trying to do a challenge for you there.
Man, I had 2 weeks to prep for this. I couldn't sleep last night. It's great.
You were just nervous.
I was nervous.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Mary. I love you. I haven't seen you forever. Next time you're in the area, I hope that our schedules connect and we can at least go to lunch and catch up a bit.
We're doing a tour November 2nd, but we're having that celebration of life November 2nd up in the Haunted Woods. It's all free, so, you're welcome to come, Lisa, and whoever else is listening to the show, and whoever wants to come, just bring a log, saturate it in essential oil and put a prayer into it, and that's all you need, and come on up. Animals are welcome too. And it'll be between 1 and 4 for the celebration of life to give honor to, the people that have crossed.
That is awesome.
And so thank you again, Mary. And I'm going to remind everybody that next week starts November's first show of the month. And we're going to change it a little bit. I'm bored of sitting on here and just giving out all kinds of information over and over and over again. And I'm trying to make it become more interactive. So it's still going to be Lisa's Changing Perceptions, but it's going to be Ask Lisa. So if you have a question about a topic that I cover or don't cover, or if you have a specific thing that you're struggling with and you're wanting to know if there's tools and ways to change that, whatever it should be, write it in, either email it into the show, email it to me at lisaschangingperceptions@gmail.com. Or you can go through my website, lisaschangingperceptions.com. You can even call in and be live on the show if you like. I'm willing to work with people while we're on the show and answer your questions, whatever it should be. But I'm really looking for the show to be more interactive. I'm getting a little burned out of just coming on every week and talking about facts and then kind of walking away. I want the people to kind of come in and talk to me and truthfully help me feel like I'm helping somebody and getting more out of it than just hearing myself talk all the time. So starting next Sunday, we're going to be doing that. Kent will be with us each week now. We love you, Pete, and we miss you, but I bet Kent will be able to answer the questions if I should do this.
Give me that much credit.
Have a great weekend, everybody, and thank you, Mary. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Lisa's Changing Perceptions. Check her out at www.lisaschangingperceptions.com. Set something up with her because she's absolutely brilliant. Stick around for Fellowship of Faith right on our heels and enjoy your Sunday. Happy Halloween, everybody. Eat a lot of candy. Dress up like a ghoul.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye now.